seen anything like that. I mean, I've seen jiu-jitsu, but those guys are amazing.
A great honor to have the Machado brothers.
Machado.
It's Carlos Machado.
This episode is brought to you by Machado Method Nutrition, premium fuel for disciplined athletes who train with intent and recover with purpose. Live the method, fuel the life. Start now at machadomethodnutrition.com. All right, everybody, Carlos Machado here again. I can't wait to have a great conversation with this next episode of Coffee Time with Carlos Machado. I have no other than many things. My father-in-law, the awesome Ray Thompson, the dad and trainer of Wonderboy for most of his career. And I'm just here ecstatic with the opportunity. So I was talking to Mr. Thompson a bit before I brought him here. We're going to just have a casual conversation and talk about life and storytelling, about all the adventures of who was, who is, who's going to be. Mr. Ray Thompson. Sir, welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here. I appreciate you giving me the invite. Your podcast is amazing. This room, I mean,
dig it?
This is awesome. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Miss Lindsey. Thanks to your daughter.
Yeah, you ain't
She's
kidding.
the designer right there, right?
Yeah, she's something else.
I tell you.
And nobody knows that better than you.
I do. Believe me.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Thompson, I have to say, when I was talking to you earlier, I was brought to you by an acquaintance. One of my students, his name is Joe. A blue belt in jiu-jitsu, but apparently he was a karate black belt back in the old days. This was like in the mid-90s, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he relocated to Greenville and became a student at your school. Yeah. And I remember him calling me and saying, hey, you got to come maybe try to teach a seminar at this gentleman's school. It's a nice school and this and that. Do you remember that part?
I do. I remember I was studying jiu-jitsu under Pedro Sauer, actually.
Yeah.
I started off under Hickson.
Yep.
And then I met Mr. Pedro Sauer, and I just loved his method. So I kind of transitioned over to train with him. And then so on my dojo, I had, advertisements on the front, karate, kickboxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu on the windows. And Joe, this is what he had explained to me. He was just riding through town one day and he saw on the window Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So he popped in and we started talking, and he started training with us. And he's a good fella, very nice. And he had asked me if I had ever heard of Carlos Machado. And, I was fairly new in the jiu-jitsu world.
Yeah.
So in the BJJ world. So I wasn't that, I had heard of the Machados, but I didn't know that much about you guys. I mean, I was all about Hickson and I was all about Pedro Sauer. But anyway, once Joe introduced me or let me know about you and about your method, I decided, you know what? He had encouraged me to get you to come out and do a seminar. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me give it a try. Brought you out. Best move I ever made. I loved your method. I loved the way you gave instruction. You were very pleasant. A lot of the jiu-jitsu seminars I went to, if back in the day, if you weren't straight up strictly jiu-jitsu, you were almost like a little bit of a dark horse. Mm-hmm. So, but I didn't get that with you. You understand? So, I was just ecstatic and been there ever since. And then I think it was maybe your second seminar, second or third, I don't remember exactly, is when you met my daughter. And then it's been wide open.
That's another chapter right
That's
there.
a whole nother story.
We'll talk
right
about
there.
that in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but I'm intrigued here and I want to go because I spoke to you briefly and I saw right before you came to the room, I talked to you about a picture I saw on your wall at your beautiful academy, Upstate Karate. And it was you with the headgear on a tough man contest against this big old guy. You know, I guess no weight divisions, you know, you meet somewhere in this place and you go at each other. And I realized, man, there's a lot to tell about this gentleman, you know, about his upbringing. And so I'm right now, I'm intrigued. What led you to the martial arts first? What was the trigger?
Well, I started my martial arts training. I went to military school. I spent my high school in a military school. Some of the best 4 years of my life. Excuse me. So there's a lot of camaraderie when it comes to military type environments. And my senior year of military school, there's this gentleman that came to our school near the very end. I think it was like the last 3 months of school that was left before we graduated and went off to either go to work or go to college. And I started training. He came to our school, offered karate lessons, and I jumped on it and been at it ever since. My inspiration, what created my desire for studying karate, was Elvis Presley, actually. When I was a kid, if there was an Elvis Presley movie on, my mom, we were watching Elvis. No matter what happened, Elvis Presley was on. No matter what she had to do, if there was an Elvis Presley movie on, it was on our TV. So I would watch him as a kid, and I was watching, you know, Elvis, you know, he's a good-looking guy, can sing and do all this and do all that.
What a charisma, right?
Yeah, he would woo the women, woo the girls, but every now and then you see him, you know, beat up
Doing
the bad
kick,
guy.
Yeah.
And he would do his karate, and I'm like, wow, look at that. That's pretty cool. I never heard of that. So I decided that, you know, at some point in time in my life, I'm gonna start studying karate. Well, that was my opportunity. So I started in March of 1974 and been at it ever since.
Wow.
It's blessed my life far beyond. I get to hang out with you. My daughter met you. I got 4 beautiful grandkids from y'all. And of course my family, my sons, all of my kids are in martial arts. My grandkids, I got grandkids studying martial arts, karate, jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
It's
amazing.
It's a wonderful world.
It's a journey.
It's a wonderful, it's a wonderful lifestyle. We get a chance to develop legacies beyond us.
Yep.
What do you say?
It's kind of like you make the world a better place for 100%. You know.
That's right. It's far beyond kicking and punching and arm bars and neck cranks. It's far beyond that.
You remind me, like, and I'm going to go back to you in a second, but just to elaborate on that, one of the few times, last times I went to Greenville to visit you and the family, I had to do a haircut, and I went to this place, and they had the Wonderboy haircut. You know, they were talking about the kids. A lot of times they will go there. I want the Wonderboy haircut. You know, so it's just like in one small little mom and pop shop right there that has been in place for 30 years. They know of you. They know of your gym. There are generations of families that actually have been through your academy.
Right.
And then you have the business actually, you know, using Wonderboy's name. You know, that's how much of an impact that a lot of times you don't even realize we have. Yeah.
Well, you know, we've been in our little hometown, Simpsonville, South Carolina. We started, we opened our dojo in September of '83. And we started off in a little 1,400 square foot space. We were there for 3 or 4 years, something to that effect. I don't remember exactly. And then we were, you know, we 35, 40 students, maybe 50 students at the time. And you know how it was back in the day. Not all of them were paying. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we did all we could do to keep the lights on.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we expanded. We went to a 2,400 square foot space, and we thought, oh my goodness, look at all this room. You know, 2,400 square feet. So we thought that was a massive. And then we just kept working, and we had tough times, and kept, kept the faith, martial arts faith.
Mm-hmm.
And we just, we're still doing it today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to Ray Thompson, the martial artist, tell me a bit about your karate path. Like you became a student, and before you became an instructor, I saw you competing at different venues and stuff. So what experiences would you like to share about that?
Well, I've had a few different types of experiences. Some in competition, some, back in the day, dojo wars were not uncommon.
Mm.
Had guys come from other dojos, want to test you.
Really?
Yeah. And there was one instance, I won't mention any names, but there was a guy came to our dojo. We were at the dojo. I'm getting ready for my first kickboxing match. I fought my first kickboxing match in 1977. So it was pre that. This guy came to our dojo, and I'm getting ready for this kickboxing match. I'm training, I'm working, I'm training, and we didn't know anything about kickboxing. It was a karate guy going to fight in a kickboxing match against another karate guy. Neither one of us, it's back in the day, neither one of us were that good at kickboxing, but we were going to give it a go. Anyway, there's this guy came to our dojo, and he decided he wanted to fight. He was in the front of the dojo. I remember like it happened yesterday. He was in front of the dojo talking to our instructor. Me and my instructor, we had just competing in a tournament the weekend before, a karate tournament, and he had injured his knee. He twisted his knee during the tournament, and so he's on a cane. It was like Monday or Tuesday right after the tournament, and he's standing on a cane. These two guys came in the front door wanting to fight. They were some Taekwondo guys. So they came in, they wanted to do some sparring. So I see my instructor in the front of the dojo talking to the guys. And I saw my instructor look back, pointed back at me, because I'm in the back, loosening it up, stretching out. And the two guys in the front looked back on me, and I saw them shake their head, yeah. So my instructor came back and asked me, hey, these guys want to do some sparring. You want to spar with them? I said, sure, why not? So my instructor asked the guys, what kind of rules you want to go by? The guy said, I just want to fight. I'm like, okay, I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't even a black belt at the time. I was, I don't know, a brown belt or something. My instructor said, okay, well, I guess we can do that. I'm like, I'm game. I'm a brown belt. What do I know? I'm down for anything. So my instructor asked the guy, what kind of gear do y'all use? He said, we don't use gear. My instructor said, okay, well, I said, well, I'm going to use some pads. I had some little pads, first generation karate sparring pads. They weighed about 2 ounces. So, instructor bowed us in. The guy was considerate enough to bow anyway. So he started sparring, and this guy started slamming. I've never been hit so hard with a side kick and a roundhouse kick in my life. I'm like, oh, man, these guys spar hard. I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. So I'm out there sparring with the guy, and I would throw something, and I would get it close. I wouldn't hit him, but I hit him a little bit. And then he hit me with a side kick so hard, he knocked me into the wall. The dojo we were at, the walls were cement block covered over with stucco.
Mm.
That's on the inside of the building. Oof. He bounced me off that wall so hard that it put a raspberry. It knocked the hide off my hip, my shoulder and my knee, smoked me into that wall, hit me with about 3 or 4 rapid fire side kicks to the body. I'm blocking them. I'm eating them. It was rough. Of course, I wasn't going to whimper and whine about it. I didn't want anybody to think I was a sissy. So I finally made my way off the wall, and the guy come at me, threw a punch, and he missed. And I threw a punch, and I, nice and controlled. I didn't want to blast the guy. We were just sparring. I knew the guy was serious when he grabbed me by my gi and headbutted me. I'm thinking, okay, this guy's not playing. I was lucky enough to turn my head to where it wasn't skull to face, it was skull to skull. So, and I thought then, oh my goodness, this guy's for real. So I backed up a little bit. He came at me, and I hit him with my good old classic ridge hand. It came out of, and it was, the guy wasn't accustomed to being hit in the face with a hand, because, most Taekwondo guys, they'll kick your head off, but they don't punch each other in the face. They can, but they just typically don't. Well, once he headbutted me, the rules changed for me. So he came at me. I smoked him with a ridge hand, put him to sleep. Boom. Laid him out flat right there on the mat. And then, of course, they gathered each other up and on they went. But the dojo awards back in the day, it was, and, he disappeared as he was leaving. He said, we're coming back. We're coming back. Of course, thank goodness he didn't. And they never came back. Supposedly, he was like one of the top guys in that school, in their Taekwondo school. So fast forward, this was, like I said, this is back in the mid to late 70s. Fast forward, life went on. This guy disappeared. I went on my way. I moved to a little town called Simpsonville, South Carolina. I'm living life. I'm working. I'm raising kids. Opened me a little dojo there in Simpsonville. This was back in early 80, 83-ish, 84-ish. I had heard through the grapevine that this guy, I knew the guy's name. I eventually learned who the guy was, that he lived and had a business in Simpsonville, where I had recently moved to. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I kind of went on about my ways, never saw the guy, but heard he had a business at such place. So I decided I'm just going to man up and go and talk to him and ask him why, that situation happened. When I walked in his business, I saw him in the back, excuse me, I saw him in the back of the room and recognized him immediately. Because you don't forget a guy like that who was, he made an impression in my life for sure. So I went in and I started talking to him, and I asked him, I said, what brought that on? He said, well, honestly, apparently my karate teacher was running his mouth saying things about his karate teacher, his Taekwondo teacher, and he wasn't going to have it. He was going to come and he was going to make somebody pay for running their mouth, saying things they shouldn't be saying about his coach, his karate teacher. And knowing my teacher at the time, he was that kind of guy. Mm. He was one of those guys that's going to say things he shouldn't say.
Too much.
Yeah. And I come to the realization that my karate teacher essentially threw me under the bus.
Without you knowing.
Yeah. He knew the guy he's going to come and get something. So I was a top guy he had at the dojo. So he's, I was the guy that was going to take the whipping. But thank goodness it turned out. Case, yeah. Thank goodness it turned out, better. But I did take a pounding for a bit.
How'd you feel about that after you learned that your coach put you on the spot?
That was heartbreaking to think that.
It was like a betrayal, right?
Yeah, it was. I felt violated. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought, he and I were, but the whole scheme of things, after I had moved away from training with him and doing my own thing, training with other instructors, the pain wasn't as great. Years down the road, when I finally met the guy that I had to do battle with, and hence the reason I don't want to mention his name, because he and I are buddies today. Mm-hmm. He's a good man. He's a good man. Right. But thank goodness that he was willing to chat with me at the time when I walked in, because the result wasn't what he had planned when he came in. Yeah. To our school to get vengeance, I guess. But anyway,
talk about the Tough Man contest. That picture.
Okay, so it was back in 1980 when this event. It was a no rule. They marketed it as a no rules tournament. One weight class. 165 pounds and up. I'm a working man. I'm doing karate. I'm a working man. I had a job. I got kids I have to take care of. I didn't have time for anything like that. What happened was there was a couple of guys in our karate school that we were training at in Greenville, South Carolina. A guy named Tommy Siegler.
Yes, sir.
Tommy Siegler he became my sensei back in the late 70s, he's my sensei today.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. So Tommy, he's a little bitty guy too. At the time, he was in the 140s. Mm-hmm. He was fighting tournaments. He was 145 pounds or whatever that weight class is. He decided he's going to fight in this tournament because he's that kind of guy. Mm. If it's a rumble, he
wants to be there.
Yeah. I mean, we used to bounce back in the day, and I seen him dust some people. So he decides he's going to fight in this tournament. I said, man, you ain't but 145 pounds. He said, I know. I'm going to put stuff in my pockets to make weight. So he's training, he's running, he's getting in shape, and he's doing this and doing that. About 3 days prior to the tournament, he steps off a curb and rolls his ankle. Boom, blows his ankle up. Mm. I get a phone call. I think I'm on the job. I think I'm working. I can't remember. I get a phone call. He said, hey, guess what? I said, what? He said, I rolled my ankle. I can't fight in the tournament. I said, oh, man, I hate to hear that. He said, guess what? I said, what? He said, I signed you up for it. I said, what? I signed you up for the tournament. I said, what do you mean sign me up for the tournament? I'm working, man. I got a job. He said, you got to go. You got to represent the school. I'm like, oh, man, you laid that on me? So I said, okay.
How much of a notice did you have? How many days before?
3 days.
3 days?
3 days.
Crap.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, man. So the tournament was a 2-day event. So the promoter came out of Atlanta. And I think the reason he came to South Carolina was because I think at the time, if I remember correct, South Carolina did not have an athletic commission. I don't think that we've officially got an athletic commission until the mid 80s. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, he said, yeah, you fighting in the tournament. I said, you fighting. I said, okay. So day one, first day of the tournament, I'm in the back. I'm scared to death. I have no idea. I didn't train a lick for this thing. So I'm in the back. I'm warming up. I had one of my karate classmates. He was holding mitts for me, and I'm trying to warm up. I'm scared to death. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. So I'm back there warming up, and there's this dumpy guy come up to me, street clothes. He said, "Hey, man," he said, you fighting in the tournament. You one of them karate guys, ain't you? I'm like, I want this guy to go away. So I said, yeah, I'm one of them karate guys. I was thinking, ain't it obvious? I'm kicking, punching, doing all this. He said, let me ask you a question. The guy was short, dumpy, country boy. I mean, just back in the country. He said, let me ask you a question. If I was ever fight one of them karate guys, I'm trying to mimic his brogue. He said, "What if I ever do one of them karate kicks? What would I do?" I want the guy to go away. I said, "You just block it down and punch him in the head. I just knock it out of the way, punch him in the head." He said, "Okay, great, thanks, man, thanks." So he went on his way. So I'm in there. I'm loosening up. Had fights going on.
I know what's coming. Right.
Had fights going on. People getting knocked out, and it was crazy. So my time. They call me. I hop in the ring. They call this other guy. Guess who hops in the ring?
The same guy.
Same guy. Mm. I'm looking at him. He kind of looks across the ring, kind of smiles at me a little bit. He looks, I said, I turned around and I told my corner man, I said, I'm going to finish this guy. I'm going to blast him with a good old side kick to the body because he was pudgy. He was fat. I'm going to smoke him with a good old side kick and get this over with. So referee brought us to the middle, sent us back to the corner. Ding, bell rang. I get out there in my fight sets. I move toward him, and I do a big old skipping side kick. I was going to kick a hole right through him. He blocked it down, boom, punched me right in the head.
So he followed your advice.
He did exactly what I told him to do. Didn't hurt me at all, but daggone it, he sure did. He blocked that foot down, punched me in the head. Of course, that just fired me up, and ended up hitting him with a few this, down he goes, and ended that one. But that was kind of a unique experience.
What are the rules then for that tough male contest?
Well, they had like 3 rules. I said it was a no rules term, but there were 3 rules. You couldn't bite. You couldn't eye gouge. Of course, we had boxing gloves on back then. You didn't have MMA gloves at the time. We had boxing gloves on, and you couldn't hit the throat straight on. Hmm. That was it.
Now, if he falls on the ground,
well, that's right. One more rule. You had 10 seconds on the ground. Do whatever you needed to do.
Oh, you can't hit him.
Kick, stomp.
Really?
Submit.
Yeah.
Knees. You can kick they allowed kicks to the knees at any angle. You can kick straight on to the knees. Mm. Oh, one more rule. You couldn't hit straight up between the legs.
Right.
But you can hit straight in front to the groin.
Are you serious?
Yeah, straight to the groin in front. So they had no biting, no eye gouging, no straight throat punches, and no kicking up between the legs. And that was it.
Yep.
10 seconds on the ground. Those were the rules. So anyway, my first fight was short and dumpy. My second fight, I had to fight this young man. He was probably about my size. I was about 215, 216 at the time. This other gentleman, he was about my size, and he was a very cocky individual. Hmm. But I got to hand it to him. He's pretty tough too. So he was one of those guys that was in your face kind of, you know what I mean? One of those kind of guys. So ding, bell rang. We went right to the middle and we started throwing. Nobody backed up, and we just kept throwing until one of us got lucky. And thank goodness it was me. I got lucky. I hit him on that chin, and I dropped him to his knees, grabbed him by the shoulders. While he was down, I did 2 knees to the body. Boom, boom. Face planted him. Thank you, Jesus. I'm out of there. Got it over with. Yeah. But I ate some shots during the whole process, but I wasn't backing up. And, of course, he wasn't going to back up either.
So you had a Max Holloway moment. Let's get the center and go at each other.
We went right to the middle, and neither one of us backed up, and we just started throwing. I ate some shots. I saw stars a couple times during that. It seemed like an eternity. But, of course, I'm sure it only lasts a few seconds. Mm-hmm. But he was smoking me. I was smoking him. I just happened to get lucky first. And like I said, dropped him to his knees. While he was down on his knees, I grabbed him by his shoulders and I drove 2 knee strikes right to the solar plexus. And he fell into me. I backed up and let him fall face down, and that was over with.
Right.
So that was another.
So the picture that I saw on your wall was the final against the biggest of them, or?
No, actually, that was I fought one time on Friday, and I fought 4 times
In the same
on
night?
Saturday.
Oh, okay. Got you. On the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're fighting 4 fights on Saturday, 4 different opponents. I fought
You're talking about the same event.
Yes, the same event. Yeah. It was a 2-day event.
Yeah.
They had a whole bunch of folks. They had a big calling. They put out a call for anybody who wants to fight in this.
What was that held at? Was it in a bar,
It was
bar?
in a place called the Greenville Memorial Auditorium.
Okay.
It was they called it the Brown Box. It was an old venue. It had been around for a long time. Of course, they've 20 years ago they tore it down. Excuse me. 20 years ago they tore it down, and they're getting ready to build a high rise in its place. So, on day 2 was the time I fought the gentleman 2 knees of solar plexus face down.
Mm-hmm.
My second fight on day 2 was a gentleman who was 6'6", 235, 40 pounds. He was one of those guys, and he stepped up on the platform and stepped over the ropes. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I got to fight this guy.
You know, in jiu-jitsu and in life, the foundation is everything. With a weak base, you cannot perform at your best. That's why I'm so excited to share Abstract Champ with you. I've been on the mats my whole life, and I know how important it is to stay connected to the ground. Abstract Champ brings that philosophy into everyday life. They're stylish, they're functional, and they're designed to evolve with you. So if you care about performance, recovery, and health from the ground up, check them out.
The day before I watched him fight, his name was Otis White. The reason I remember his name is because his fight name was Tootie Pie. Tootie Pie. Otis Tootie Pie White. He was a different individual. He stepped up on the platform, stepped over the ropes. The day before, I watched him fight a guy, and the guy came at him hard. He was a head and a half taller than the guy. Otis White was a head and a half taller than the guy he fought on day 1.
So you fight a giant.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And he was a scary individual. This guy came at him hard, and Otis, the guy had his head right in Otis's chest, and he was just throwing shots. And Otis was just like, it didn't faze him a lick. So he backed up to the ropes. The guy pressed him on the ropes. Otis steps up on the bottom rope and takes an elbow, drops an elbow right on top of this guy's skull. Boom! Split him open. The guy was a white guy. Otis was black. He was scary black. This is not a racial thing. This was a psychological warfare thing. Otis was a scary man. He split this guy's skull wide open. The day of the event, that guy had just shaved his head bald. So his head was pearly white from the fresh shave, the haircut he had. And when Otis hit him with that elbow, that blood red just covered him, and it just stood out like a sore thumb, and it was a mess. So that match was over. So, and Otis, he didn't break a sweat. He didn't even break a sweat.
So you had to go against
Otis. Second fight of day 2, guess who got drawn? Otis. I got drawn Otis. So I'm in my corner. He's in his corner. He's standing over yonder. He's giving me the eye. I'm like scared to death. So brought us in the middle. I mean, I'm looking at Otis's chin. You know, he's up here. You know, at the time I was about 6'2". So I'm looking at his chin, his throat. Back to my corner. He went back to his corner. Ding, the bell rang. I blitzed across the ring. I hopped on him in his corner. I wasn't about to let him out. So I got on him in his corner. Boom, boom, boom. I stepped off to one side and I threw a couple leg kicks. Then I threw a shot right straight to the cup. And I hit it because it's legal. It was legal. Hit him straight to the cup. He told me later I ended up breaking his cup, split his cup, and of course it pinched on all that down there. So he's grabbing himself. While he's grabbing himself, I'm tearing that head up. Boom, 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 boom. So he's leaning back over the ropes. He's leaning back, trying to get away from me, and he's still trying to protect his parts down below. So because they were not in not very good shape. So he's leaning back. I'm lacing it to him over. I'm trying to reach over his chest to get him to his chin, and I'm missing, and I'm throwing, I'm missing, and I'm getting closer though. Next thing you know, he ducks and ducks under the top rope to get away. That's instant DQ. That was instant DQ right there. Thank goodness he did, because he was trying to get away from what I was trying to lay on him, because I was not going to let him out of that corner.
Gotcha.
I had seen what he had done the day before,
right?
And there was no way I was going to let that happen to if possible, to happen to me.
Yep.
So he ends up getting DQ'd. I ended up talking to him after the event later on. He told me I broke his cup. Of course, that wasn't my intent, but shots to the front were legal. So I want to take advantage.
Took advantage of the rules, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So once he voluntarily stepped his head off underneath that top rope, that the referee stepped in and ended it. Thank goodness. So that was a good thing for me.
Yeah.
My third fight on day 2, I fought the biggest guy in the tournament. He was 6'2"-ish, 3-ish, 340 pounds. He was a tank. I hit him with everything I could hit him with. I punch him, kick him. I'm thinking, you know what? This guy, he's a big old fella. He ain't going to move very fast. I'm going to throw a couple of leg kicks, make sure he, slow him down. So right off the bat, he stepped out there. I chopped him with a good old leg kick. Boom, on that thigh. I saw him grimace a little bit, because he felt that I made him eat a good one. So he stood right there in front of me. So I chopped that leg. I said, you know what? I saw that. I'm going to get him again with it. So I get ready to wind that baby up. I throw it hard. Daggone it. If the guy didn't know how to do a leg check, he leg checked my foot. I thought I was going to die. I hit him. I said, okay, no more leg kicks. No more leg kicks. Out of nowhere. I didn't know what a leg check was at the time. You know what I mean? It was back in 1980. I didn't know what I didn't know what Muay Thai was. I thought I was a guy. So I chopped that leg. He checked it. It wasn't until, a few years later, I finally learned what a leg check was, that it was a thing. So I said, okay, no more leg kicks. So when he would come at me, he would come straight, and he'd come pretty dang quick for a big 340-pound guy. He would come at me straight, and what I would do was he would come at me, and I would hit him, pop, 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 as he went by. I would step out of the way, hit him as he passed by, and he would head to the ropes. So I moved to the other side of the ring, and he would come at me again. As he came at me, I would step off the side, boom, boom, boom. He didn't have very good serpentine skills. He was straight line. That was it. Yeah. So because when he became hard. So he'd get to the ropes, bounce off the ropes. So I'm to the other side of the ring. I told myself, you know what? I'm going to stick this guy with a big old flying sidekick right to the chest and see if I can't finish him. So he's back against the ropes, and I forget what side of the ring it was. All I really had to do is take like 2 steps, and I'm in the air. And I did, and I took 2 steps, bump, bump. I hit him right in the chest with that flying side kick. Boom! He bounces off the ropes and starts walking toward me like it didn't faze him a lick. I'm like, oh,
What?
no.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I stuck him with it. I did one of the, the kung fu flick flying side kicks right to the chest. Boom. Bounce him off the ropes. I said, oh, no, we can't have none of that. So here he comes again. Hit and go. And I'm peppering him as he passed. I decided myself, I'm not going to try to knock this guy out. I'm just going to try to hit him enough to win the round, win the tournament. There's 3 rounds, So sure enough, we're fighting. There was one point in the fight where he literally got me on the ropes, and it was legal. He grabbed the rope. He pinned me in the corner. What happened? He got me pinned in the corner. He reached around me and grabbed the rope.
It held you there.
He had me pinned. My arms were down by my side. Matter of fact, he pinned me in my corner. He had his corner other side. He pinned me in the corner of my own corner. My corner people were down here, down on the floor. So roast arms are pinned down, and he reached around me and he couldn't hit me because he was arm over here, chest laying on these ropes around the corner, and my hands were down. He's trying to hit me, but he couldn't do anything. And I'm talking to my corner people down here.
What in the world you gonna do there?
Yeah, Tommy was one of them. He's on crutches down in the corner. So we're talking, and the guy was holding me, and he was shaking, and the whole ring was shaking. And he's ragdolling me around, and I'm trying to get out. I said, I'm talking to him. I said, what do I do? What do I do? He said, work your arm out. Put it against the jaw. So I was able to work one arm out, and I put it against his face, and I turned his face. He was a big old dude. He had a little bitty mouth, guy as big as he was. And I knew he was burning oxygen. So I was able to turn his face enough to where he couldn't breathe well. So he finally had to let go so he could back off and catch his breath. So when he did, I'm out of that corner. And now I'm on the bicycle the rest of the fight. But I ended up winning that fight simply because I just hit him more than he hit me. Right. I didn't hurt him with anything.
It's all about the strategy, right?
Yeah, I had to. Yeah. I mean, I hit him with everything I had. I mean, I was 220, 15, 20 pounds, somewhere in that range. And I stuck him in his chest, and it didn't faze him.
That's
crazy. I drove him into the ropes. He bounced off the ropes and threw his hands up and started walking in my direction.
Yeah, I
said, no, I ain't having none of this. So that's when I was, it became a track meet.
Yeah. It's amazing how you capture the entire fight up to now. You know all the critical details. It's interesting, right? Because in the midst of it happens so fast.
Yeah.
But then after you pass, you start to recollect. And I always, when I remember me competing, or when I see people fighting, I don't remember a thing that happened throughout the match, but then after the fact, you have that recollection. Isn't that interesting?
100%. And there's no video of
back
it.
Then, no videos, right?
No,
you have to remember.
Yeah,
from the memory. Yeah.
And I remember it like it happened yesterday.
Wow.
There's so many things I forget just like that. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there are events in my life like this that are so vivid, that made such an impression that, they're burned into my.
So after all, you won the tournament.
Yeah. I fought him. He was the biggest guy in the tournament.
Yep.
And I had to fight the smallest guy in the tournament. He was 165 pounds.
I'm sure he was not happy to be on the opposite corner from you.
Yeah. Well, there's a little story to that one. So I think what they did was they had 32 guys that they accepted. They divided them into groups of 16, big guys and smaller guys. And they fought them down to one from each group. And I ended up fighting this guy. He was 165 pounds. Excuse me. The guy I just beat, the big guy, 340-pounder, he was in the back in the dressing room getting ready. Getting changed, getting ready to leave. But he overheard my next opponent and his coach talking. And he came to me. He said, here's what I heard. He was telling me what was going on. He said, what they're going to do is they're going to come to you. They're going to come to me and they're going to say, hey man, you know what? You're too good. We can't beat you. Let's get out there. Let's fight. You take first. We'll take second. And we're good with that. And then.
Which fight you're referring to? The very last one?
The last match.
Okay.
The last match was I'm fighting the 165-pound guy. Okay.
It's almost like an exhibition match that he wanted.
That's what they were trying to get me to think that they wanted. Mm. The big guy that I had just fought, the 340-pound guy, heard them talking in the back, and what their plan was to come to me and say, hey, we know we can't beat you. They can't beat me, but why don't we just get out there, put on a show for the fans? You take first place. I take first. We'll take second. But his coach said, when you get him to drop his guard, that's when you throw the punch and knock him out. So they were trying to get me to think that they wanted to get out there, put on a bit of an exhibition, and then whenever I got a little lazy, that they're going to try to catch me in the jaw and knock me out.
Hey man, hold on. So they actually wanted to knock you out.
Yeah.
They were just kind of scheming.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Exactly
And
right.
the big old guy warned you about it.
Heard them and warned me about it.
So lo and behold, what happened right before the match? Did they come to you?
They did. They came to me, did exactly what the big guy said. They said, you know what? We can't beat you, man. So why don't we just get out there and we just throw some punches and kicks and whatever, and you throw a little more than we do, and you win, and we'll take second. We're good with that. I said, okay, sure. Okay, no problem. Yeah, let's do that. So we're out there. We're doing a little bit of this.
But you knew what was up. Okay.
Yeah. I knew, because and sure enough, what the big guys said they were going to do, they did exactly that. They come to me, say, hey, we can't beat you. So we're out there sparring around, and I see it coming. I see the big shot coming. He winds up, he throws that big shot. When he did, I fade back just a little bit, and he was committed on it too. He almost fell face first. He was throwing. So as I faded back, I reached, and I had no idea what a rear naked choke was. But this was my first rear naked choke.
So you could choke too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you get on, anything on the ground. It was ground and pound, submission, whatever. But once you hit the ground, you only had 10 seconds to do what you needed to do. They stand you back up. You didn't have a lot of time. So I see that punch coming, so I fade back, and he whisks me right here. So I reach and grab him around his neck, and I pull him to me, and I spin him around backwards. So he's back here. He's facing that direction. I grab him around. I grab him, and I pull him. I go to my back, and I pull him down on top of me. And I wrap my legs around his waist. I scissor him up, and I grab him around his jaw, his neck. And instead of squeezing, I just started pulling. I was pulling his head off. It's not your classic BJJ technical rear naked choke. I just grabbed him around his head and started pulling. So he's on the ground. He's
did do the job, I guess.
Yeah, he's gurgling. He's choking. He's gurgling. I said, tap, sucker, tap. Because, you could tap. You could tap out. So next thing you know, he's tapping. And then match was over. I ended up winning the whole event. But yeah, that was a different event, different type of, and it was billed as the toughest man in South Carolina contest. Not that it was really that, but.
And was that the only one that you did?
That was the only one that they had of that type. Now, I did fight in some other, what they call off-the-street boxing. where you can only stand up. They didn't do any. I fought in one more event similar to that, but it was stand up only. You know, boxing, kickboxing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. So,
All right. So there are two things here. You know, you have Upstate Karate, then you have Pitch Black,
right.
then you have the career of your children, in particular Wonderboy. So you have those three massive things here. I'd like to start first with what I think of everything that you do, because we were talking a bit about legacy and about impacting people's lives. Like when I went to get the haircut, and they have the Wonderboy cut.
Yeah.
Tell me if you ever in your life thought that the little 1,400 square feet school, Upstate Karate, would become what it has become. Because I just came back from a weekend at your place, and anytime I step on that building that you guys have right now, it's such a massive structure. The scale, the whole parking lot, all the buses that picks people in school. It was just like, and that's the coffee shop. That's out of this world. That beats any, I'm not going to say names of other, but it beats any other coffee shop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you look at that, and then you see your whole family working together with you, you see your grandkids on the mat, having classes from you and your kids, right? I'd like you to describe to me the journey of Upstate Karate. And how do you feel? Do you pinch yourself?
You know, when I first started this journey, martial arts journey, I knew this is what I wanted to do, but I really didn't have a plan or knew exactly how I wanted to do it or how to do it. I'm going to have to give props to my wife, Gloria, Miss T. Essentially, the way it works and how it works, I don't know. I'm blessed with this woman. She's a visionary. There's no woman that I know of that works as hard or harder than she does.
I can attest to that.
Except maybe, I won't say your daughter, my daughter, your wife works harder than Miss T does, but I know she works as hard.
I wouldn't be where I am without my wife. I relate to you on that.
So anyway, Miss T is, I'm going to have to honestly say, she is the catalyst that enabled us, myself, her, my son Stephen, my son Tony. She's the catalyst that made our business grow. Me, I'm the brawn. I'm the guy on the mat. I'm the guy that anything that needs to be fixed around there, if it's within my pay grade, I fix it. Otherwise, we hire it out. But for the most part, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If there's any training to be done, that's my thing. That's Wonderboy's thing. Miss T, she's the visionary. I mean, I could just say it call it like it is. Mm-hmm. She's our visionary. She's the one and she's also the catalyst that makes it happen. Mm-hmm. I can be lazy. I'm going to be honest. I can be lazy. Not hard for me to be a lazy guy. You put me on the mat, I'm in heaven. Mm-hmm. But when I get off the mat, I'll get a little lazy. Miss T's not lazy.
The sun never sets for her. Right?
No. And anybody around her, you better be ready to work, myself included. She's relentless. She's got a plan, and her plan doesn't benefit her. It benefits all of us. Myself, my son Stephen, my son Tony, all of us. It's a great plan, and it takes all of us to make it happen. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, she's the catalyst that made it all work. She's the one that developed our retail. She's the one that developed the coffee shop. As far as the dojo is concerned, that's That's my wheelhouse. Yeah. So I designed the dojo.
You do the floor plan.
Yeah, the
way it's gonna operate and stuff.
The floor plan of the dojo itself, where the action happens, that's where I developed that. But the front, you walk in the door, the front.
All the workflow, all the systems.
That's right. All the systems in the front, that's all her. All her. I would love to take credit for that, but then, you know.
So a lot of times people don't realize what it takes to run a business. They think that going there and just teaching the class is all that it takes. And when the doors close, when the curtains are off, that's ongoing.
There's still work to be done
behind the scenes. I guess as an instructor, I feel kind of similar to you. I had my name at the door, and I go there as the main instructor. I always feel it's the easier part. You know, I go there. I'm not taking away from what it takes to build up to that point.
Right.
But I'm saying my wife does ensure, and the staff that I have that she orchestrates behind the scenes, that everything is literally ready to go by the time I go teach. And I'm sure you feel the same.
Exactly the same way.
Yeah, so for everybody hearing is, and I think there's the parallel, it's not what happens on the mat that makes you successful, it's what happens off the mat.
That's right.
The mat is just a consequence of what eventually triggers everything else to be in place.
Well, yeah, I say that to a degree. Now, what gravitated me to you was your method, your instructional method, the way you instruct, the way you teach. You teach excellent content, but your delivery is what attracted me to you. The way you the way you express whatever technique you're working on. So it's that sold me on you. Subsequently, as a martial arts educator, karate teacher, whatever you want to call it, we've got to develop our delivery, the way we deliver our technique, our product. If our delivery is bad, if you're a butthole every time, if you're a butthole every time you step on the mat, and you're dogging them, you're treating them like crap, they get that at work. People get that at work. They get that at school. They don't want to come to the dojo and get it there too. They want to come in. They want to get a workout in, of course. They want to develop some skills that'll benefit them in a bad situation. And they want to associate with somebody that's going to care about what they want. If you as a martial arts educator, if all you do is bark off commands and drill sergeant people every time they come in, they get that at work, like I'm saying. We need to be, and this is it took me a long time to adopt this. This is not my concept. I learned this from a lot of folks over the years. If when they walk in the door and you're on them, they need a place where they can decompress. A guy told me years ago, he said, and this is not a, magical, mystical or anything. He said, your students don't really care a whole lot about what you know. What they really want to know is how much you care. If we are martial arts educators, and if we demonstrate that we truly care for our students, they're going to stick around for a longer period of time. They're not going to stick around forever. None of them stick around forever. But you can encourage them to stick around for longer periods of time. And the longer you have them, the greater the impact that you're going to have on them. Mm-hmm. And really deep down, that's our mission. That's what we should be trying to, having great competitors, having great fighters, that's all well and good. But my mission is what I want to do is I want to take that person who's been sitting on that couch for the last 4 or 5 years, doing not a whole lot of anything, get them off that couch, get them on the mat, get them training, and get them feeling good about themselves. Mm-hmm. Tell me that won't improve your society.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You got kids in school who are picked on, kicked to the curb, bullied, whatever. If you can get that kid to get out on the mat and enjoy what they're doing and develop skills and come to the realization at some point in time that, yeah, you know what? I am worth something. I can take care of myself. Nobody's going to push me around anymore. Mm-hmm. Tell me that doesn't do good for your society.
No, 100%. I think it's a big aspect. You're talking about the approach and also the culture. The culture at your gym. When I was there with you at the coffee shop last time I saw you, a little over a week ago, when you're at your dojo, at your beautiful academy, I saw a family leaving, and one of the kids was kind of like upset. He was, I'm not sure if the kid was upset because the kid didn't want to leave the dojo, or the kid was having fun, something happened. He was kind of like crying, whatever. And then you looked at that, and you called that kid. You know, the parents were just walking out, but right before they got to the door, and you kind of told the kid, "Why are you making that face? You know, what's wrong?" And this and that. And you kind of gave a reinforcement. So a lot of times what I see, there are two kind of parenting that I see. One, that the parent is on your side. You do your part of the dojo, you help with the discipline, and the parents help out and continue the work at home. Yeah. And others, the parent want to replace themselves with you being the only disciplinarian.
Right.
And then when they go home, the parents do the opposite. So you have that struggle. How do you see that?
Well, you know, today's parents are, I mean, honestly, for me, it would be tough to be a parent today because of all the distractions that they have raising their kids, and their kids being pulled in so many different directions. Now, I attribute a lot of that to the parents because they allow it to happen.
Yeah.
They can put their foot down a little bit more if they so desire, or if they just put their foot down a little bit. But in their defense, our society is pulling so hard on our kids, our teens, or teenagers. Boy, I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be a teenager today. Our society is pulling so hard on them. There's so many distractions, and it's so hard, not impossible, but it's extremely hard, much harder today than it was back in the day, to keep our kids focused and keep them out of bad stuff. Because the devil's pulling in every direction.
Right? Yeah.
Every direction. Mm-hmm. So if we can figure out how to, and I encourage a lot, you know, I have a lot of my parents training with me.
Yeah.
But I would love that if they were all trained with me, but I can't, you know, some of them just can't do it. They don't have time, they don't have the means, or whatever the case may be. But what we got to do is we got to figure out a way to encourage our parents to, let's see, what's the term I want to use? Encourage our parents to just step in there and take charge on a greater level. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times it's hard, but it's I mean, it is what it is. You got to take charge as a parent.
Yeah.
On a greatest level as you possibly can. Yeah. Let me say that.
I think everything has a window.
Yeah.
We as a parents have a window up to how much influence we can bestow upon our kids. After that, the streets and life,
that's right,
will take it. And if they don't have enough input from you, whatever they're going to have to learn is going to come from some other sources, they may not be in their best interest.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be more susceptible and more vulnerable if they don't have that foundation at home.
That's
I
right.
agree with you 100%. I think martial arts, I can tell from my experience, I had a lot of folks that I used to be friends with and part of my circle. And what kept my circle clean was, one, I always wanted to be in good shape because I was competitive. And also I had the mentorship of a master, a guru like Carlos Gracie Sr.
Right.
He was the patriarch of the Gracie family. And he had a very adamant lifestyle. You know, he would walk the talk. He wouldn't tell you to do something that he wouldn't do it.
Right.
So he had a clean life. He ate clean. He used no drugs, no alcohol. He was very disciplined, methodical in everything that he did. And he created a lifestyle. You know, the Gracie diet originally came from him. He was a healer. And I literally listened to that man. Other than my dad, he was the other man that I listened to the most. I used to live at his house. You know, so I was very adamant since my early age to follow through many of the principles. So for me, drugs was never an issue because I literally felt I had a shield around me of, but I have to tell you though, I have a lot of friends of mine that were part of my group that as they became teens, mid-teens, puberty kicked in, you know, high school, whatever, they start to mingle with other people and do other things.
Distraction.
And then they would actually, on their own, distance themselves from me. I had the jiu-jitsu, I had the component of the family, I had the, you know, culture built around me. And, you know, and my parents are pretty, you know, good examples at home we didn't have to deal with. I had a stable home, to say the least, you know. But I do believe that martial arts alone sometimes is not enough. You have to have
100%.
that culture and that mindset, because I think nowadays with social media, cell phones, and everything else, it's literally impossible for you to filter all the raw reality that your kids get exposed to at an age that they don't have the maturity yet to deal with. Doesn't that make sense?
100%. That's exactly what I was referring to when I was talking about distractions. I mean, they're coming to our kids from every angle.
Yeah.
So as a parent, we just got to be strong.
Yeah.
We got to step in there. If there's a distraction, you need to know what your kids are doing, whether it be on their phones, on their computers.
Yeah.
Huge distractions. Know what they're doing and put your foot down.
Yeah.
Put your foot down.
Let's talk about your kids a little bit, and then in particular, Wonderboy's progression, because from what I remember, he started in UFC in 2012. I could be wrong.
That's right.
And before his first fight, he had an extensive career in kickboxing. Tell me a bit about Steven and, you know, and whatever you want to say in that regard, like the next generation that you helped build.
Well, let's talk, if you don't mind, just a little bit prior to Steven. Steven wasn't my first kickboxer. My daughter, Lindsey, your wife, was my first kickboxer.
Yep.
She had 2 or 3 fights. I don't remember exactly. But
pro fights?
No. She never had any pro fights. Her first fight, if I remember correctly, I put her up against a national champion kickboxer. Young lady, I forget the young lady's name, but Lindsey put a beating on this girl. It was Lindsey's first kickboxing match.
Wow.
And she put a beating on this girl. Lindsey's lead leg was top notch. She could side kick you, round kick you, fall up 1-2s. Anyway, she put a beat. The young lady that Lindsey fought and her coach, they just knew that their girl was going to put it on her. But Lindsey was, she just spanked that girl. Then her second fight, if I remember correctly, she fought a teammate of the first girl she fought.
Oh.
But she fought, the girl she fought was actually bigger than Lindsey. taller and bigger.
You're talking about the second one.
That was her second fight. And Lindsey spanked her too. Made her quit. Lindsey, the lead leg hook kick to the head. Boom.
Was that her move? Her main move? The hook kick to the leg?
Do what?
Was that her main trademark kick?
Yeah, her lead leg was her thing. The style of kickboxing we did back then what we call American rules, which means you can only kick above the belt. No leg kicks, no knees, no elbows, just hands and feet. Is what they call American rules, and it's from the waist up. You had fewer targets. You had the body and head, and that was it. Which some people like that, some people don't. But that's the style that was the thing.
That's popular back then.
Back then, yeah. But Lindsey, she was quite the athlete, quite the kickboxer. And for the longest, her main sparring partner was Steven. Mm-hmm. Steven would help her get ready. She would pound on him, beat him up. But there was a time in their lives where that changed. Mm-hmm. We won't get into that. But then, she decided, what? She wanted to do girly things, and off to school she went, college. So those things kind of changed her kickboxing desires. And I think, honestly, she did it more to make Dad happy than her desire to do it. But she was good at it.
You're talking about the kickboxing?
Yeah.
She did more to make you happy? Yeah.
She was good at it. But I think she did it mostly to make me happy. But honestly, for me, if she wanted to fight or didn't want to fight, it was okay with me either way. But I was glad to see that she at least had the opportunity to get out there and, see what it's like a little bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It would have been a sad day if Muhammad Ali had never put on boxing gloves.
Yeah.
It would have been a sad day if Michael Jordan never picked up a basketball.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what the world would have missed not seeing those guys? Well, I can't equate my kids to those guys. Those are
right.
They're like world-class greats.
Icons. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it would have been, in my opinion, it would have been a sad day that Lindsey would have never experienced that level of intensity. Mm-hmm. 99% of all the kids in the world don't experience that kind of intensity. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she could say she did, and she did well. Mm-hmm. Then comes the little brother. He's coming right up behind her. His first kickboxing match, I put him up against a guy. I don't even think he was 16 yet. He may have been a few days away from 16. We lied about his age. I put him in there with
an adult.
With a guy that had more than 20 kickboxing matches.
And was his first fight?
Yeah.
Steven's first fight? Wow.
Yeah. Well, Steven didn't know. He didn't know he was as good as he was. Mm-hmm. He didn't, because all he did was train with the people at our dojo. Mm-hmm. And there were some guys there at our dojo that would, wail on him. Well, there was a point in time in his life that some little switch flipped. Yeah, something clicked. So I think, you know what? He doesn't know it yet, but he's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it. Mm. At least I thought he had it yet. So we stuck him out there, and he beat the brakes off that guy. He schooled him. That guy couldn't do nothing. I don't remember his name. Steven might, I don't know. But Steven beat this kid up. And Steven was the kid. This guy was in his early 20s. Mm. Steven, I think he was not even 16 at the time. Steven spanked him. So, and this is how he got his name, Wonderboy. So, fight's over. They got a hand. The kid took a pounding. Steven, the opponent, took a pounding, but he made it. It went the distance. But I got to give the guy props for that. But Steven, and his coach, the guy Steven fought, his coach, he was a very well-known coach and had put a lot of top-level fighters.
So he came from a steady and strong camp. He came
from a legit gym. So, and his coach was dumbfounded that his boy got spanked like he did. But anyway, but he was a good man. The coach was a good man. Anyway, all that being said, after the fight was over, the not the ring announcer, the guy that was doing some of the commentary got up in the ring and asked, talked to the opponent and asked him, the ring announcer asked him, what do you think about fighting Stephen Thompson? And the guy said, man, I wonder why I even got in the ring with that boy. And then the ring announcer guy, the commentator guy said, Wonderboy. And that's how it came about. It kind of stemmed from
You got stuck out of an interview.
Yeah, because of an interview. Yeah. So the guy that was doing the commentary, the guy, I've known the guy for years, a guy named Paul Pierman. Good dude. But Paul asked him, what do you think about fighting this kid? And then his opponent said, I wonder why he even got in the ring with this boy. And then Paul took it from there, said, Wonder, blah, 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 Wonderboy. Next thing you know, that's his nickname, Wonderboy. It's been like that ever since. Yeah, as far as kickboxing is concerned, Stephen had amateur and pro combined. He had 57 matches, 39 KOs I've commented on this thing for over the years, so I got the numbers.
You have the memory right.
Yeah, I got the
record straight. Yeah.
Yeah. He had 39 KOs, 57 and 0 kickboxing. He fought for World Combat League. That was a whole nother animal right there. Chuck Norris.
He had the knee injury.
Yeah, that's when he blew his knee out. That was a mess. But he had knee surgery, had ACL replacement, blew his ACL out and just shredded it. Doctor said he'd never fight again. ACL replacement surgery, replaced it with a cadaver ligament. Got back from surgery, got his leg wrapped up. Nobody made him do it. He did it on his own. He took one of those physio balls, went over by the bags, and he's got a stiff leg. He got it wrapped up in this brace. He can't bend the knee. He sits on the physio ball, extends his leg out to one side, puts his gloves on, and starts doing bag work.
Sitting
on the, yeah, this was right. It was probably, I won't say right out of the hospital, but it was fairly close to being right out of the hospital from knee surgery. A few days, and I think
you go right back to work.
He's right back at it. I didn't tell him to do it. Did it on his own. And then it took him about almost 3 years before he can be able to get back in the ring again. And then he got back in there, fought. He was still doing kickboxing at the time. And then we got the call from UFC. And,
but I want to go back before you go on the kickboxing. He won a tournament in Eastern Europe. That was the first time an American had ever won that tournament, or it had been a very long time before any Westerner ever won that.
So there was
in Hungary, right? Was that in Hungary?
It was in Szeged, Hungary. It was the WAKO World Championship. WAK stands for World Association of Kickboxing Organizations. A lot of kickboxing organizations came under the umbrella of WAKO. So they had fighters from all over the world. It was a massive event. Excuse me. So there was an event in the U.S. It was an European organization called IAKSA, International Association of Kickboxing, something associated. IAKSA is what we did, the acronym. We heard about the tournament, and it was held in Orlando, Florida. Stephen went down to that tournament we registered. We went down to the tournament. He competed. He won the tournament. He beat everybody in the tournament. That qualified him to compete in the Waco World Championships. Excuse me. So we flew to. We had a U.S. team. I was the head coach for the U.S. team. I had 2 fighters from my karate school fighting in it, Steven and a guy named Peyton Russell. Peyton was actually from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He moved down to train with us. He lived down in the South for a couple of years, but during that time he competed at the in the Waco World. No, he did not compete in the Waco World Championships. He competed in the IKF World Classics, and he competed. No, I take that back. He did compete in the Waco World Championships. Sometimes I get them mixed up, but we just so many events. He did compete in the Waco World Championships, but I was the head coach for the team, and Steven was my 165er, I think. Peyton was my 157, somewhere in that area. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, so back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, the U.S. was pretty high on the totem pole when it came to kickboxing, above the waist. Back in 88, there was a guy from our area in South Carolina, a guy named Jerry Rome, that fought in the Waco World Championships, and he won his weight class. That was in the early 80s, late 80s. Steven fought in the Waco World Championships in 2005, I believe. I think that's right. And from 88 to 2005, no Americans had won a kickboxing title at the Waco Worlds. Americans used to be pretty dominant, but the Europeans stepped their game up and started spanking everybody. Russians, all of them. They were just a bunch of good fighters, good coaches, good fighters. So anyway, we were there at the Waco Worlds, and this was not long after the Bosnia
War? Really?
War. Yeah. So needless to say, the Americans we were dirt. We were not treated well at the Waco Worlds because the world was mad at us. We didn't fight the war. But there was the venue we stayed at was probably competed at was probably a mile or so from the hotel we stayed at. When it was time to go from the hotel to the venue, the Americans had to walk. We couldn't get on the bus. All the other teams were bused to the venue. We had to walk. So you know what we did? We walked. We didn't complain. We didn't say a word. We walked to the event, to the venue, had to make weight every day. We made weight. And, over the course of the 4 or 5 days the tournament happened, 4 days, we were humble. We kept it quiet. We weren't over exuberant of any wins. We weren't, we just kept it respectful. Years passed. We had some coaches and fighters. They were very arrogant, and we just weren't going to play that. We were going to just, because we were in their house, and we just didn't want to create any more
animosity.
That's perfect. We didn't want to create any more animosity between us
And everybody
world.
else. Yeah.
So if we would win, we were very respectful about it. And if we lost, We were very respectful about it. We didn't stomp and pitch a fit, and like some of us Americans had in the past. If we won, we were very cool about it. We didn't, raise ruckus, all the, like some of the Americans in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we kept to our spot, kept to our place ourselves, and as the tournament went on, we would go compete and we would do this.
Yeah.
First day there was a friend of ours that traveled with us. He was from Belgium. Good dude. We met him at the tournament down in Florida that qualified Stephen to compete. He saw Stephen fight in Orlando at that IACSA tournament, and he became a fan. And when it was time to go to the Walk of Worlds, he went with us. He followed us to the Walk of Worlds. He could speak French. He could speak German. He could speak all kinds of different languages.
Is it the gentleman that lives in Canada that goes everywhere whenever Stephen fights? It's not the same, right?
It was. It was. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so okay,
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah. So we were there, and our friend, his name was Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc would.
Yep. Yeah.
Jean-Luc would circle around the venue, and he would talk to the different teams because he could speak their languages. And Jean-Luc the word got back to us that Americans didn't have a chance. We were going to get slaughtered. This, and that. We just wasn't even, that's the word that he got from all the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we kept to ourselves, like I said, and we did our thing. And some of our guys would win a fight. Some of them, it got to be where we had one American left with any potential of winning a world title. It was Stephen. His first fight, he fought a guy from, he fought a guy from Italy, an Italian fella, stud. But ended up fighting, and during the course of the fight, he cut the guy, and there was blood everywhere. And he ended up kicking the guy in the head and crushing his orbital.
Oh, wow.
Match kick to the head, knockout. Stephen didn't know it. He didn't know he had done that kind of damage. And we got word through the grapevine. Well, actually, Jean-Luc found out what had happened to that guy, and they ended up airlifting him to a hospital somewhere. Of course, we kept that quiet. We didn't let Stephen know because we knew it hurt his heart. He didn't want to hurt anybody. Mm-hmm. But we kept it away from Stephen so he wouldn't, mess
up his head.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when that fight was over, and day 2, he had to fight a guy from the UK. He was a tank. He was the epitome British bulldog. Straight ahead, eat everything you throw, and keep coming. His name was Marlon Hunt. Marlon Hunt, if I remember correct. Anyway, Marlon was a beast, but he was in Stephen's chest, but Stephen just outworked him. Stephen would hit him and everything. He rocked him a few times, but Marlon just kept coming. But Stephen just keep you move. Marlon was whiffing a lot, missing punches and kicks. Stephen just pieced him up, ended up winning that match. That was his second fight. Day 3, he fought a guy from Latvia. Anyway, during the course of us being there, we went from being garbage, essentially, to, as Stephen would win, and as he would conduct himself at the end of each match, very respectful. you could
Changed
tell
the
there were some
perception.
changes happening
Yeah. You felt the
during the rest of the teams.
uh-huh.
So on day 3, he fought this guy from Latvia. I don't know the guy's name. The guy was carved out of granite, broad-shouldered, narrow hip, that kind of a guy, rock solid. I was watching this guy, and Stephen, he's not the biggest guy in the world, and he's not, he's built pretty good for little skinny kid, but he wasn't built like this other guy. How this guy made weight, I have no idea. He was a tank. But I'm watching this guy. Before the fight even started, I told Steven, I said, listen, this guy's got a weak body. He's got a weak body. Even though he has a six-pack, doesn't matter. I said, you focus on that body. Fight went, boom, boom, boom. Before I started working that body, you can see that guy. You see him grimace. But Steven knew right then, okay. I forget what round it was. And Steven ended up stopping the guy, if I remember correct. I'm going to say second round, maybe. I don't know. All the matches were 3 minutes. 3 rounds, 2-minute matches. So Steven ended up stopping him in the, I want to say third round, maybe. I don't remember. But and the week went on, and it came down between Steven and the Russians. Now, everybody, according to Jean-Luc, our inside guy, he said everybody hates the Russians. He said there wasn't a team out there that didn't despise the Russians, because the Russians, they have ways of winning, and they dominate a lot of the tournaments, most of the tournaments.
If I may interject, were they doing drugs, enhancing drugs? Is that one of the reasons
Everything,
that
you name it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Any way there was to win,
they
that's
would
what
make use of it?
That's the word we
Okay.
got. We didn't fight a lot of them. We never fought any Russians before. We had not been over. That was our first time being over in Europe fighting in a tournament. But this is the word we got from our buddy Jean-Luc, who would, he was a socialite, man. He can meet no strangers, kind of like this guy right over here, meets no strangers. And on the final day of the tournament, the tournament organizers, there was a bunch of title fights. All the different weight classes had title fights, but they made Steven and the Russian title fight as the main event of the entire tournament. And there was I don't know how many countries represented there.
Wow.
It was, I don't know how many, it was amazing. It was 4 rings, 4 days, all day long. 4 rings running full speed, 4 days, all day long. The tournament was massive. I want to say 157 countries or something like that. I don't remember. There's a bunch of them.
Oh my goodness.
It was huge. Anyway, the final event of the entire tournament was the American against the Russian.
Needless to say, most people by then were rooting for Steven. Am I correct?
But by that day, you heard the entire stadium, except for the little small Russian contingent over there on the side. The Russians, they don't say Russia. They was Russia. That's how they pronounce Russia, Russia. And then the rest of the stadium was USA. I mean, people from everywhere. I was like, It was chill. It was chilling.
Yeah, just get the.
It was.
There you go. Move more.
It was. It gave me chill bumps. We had no idea that was taking place over the course of the week we were there. But when it came down to the Americans and the Russians, the whole stadium was chanting USA, except for the few Russians over in the corner over there. And anyway, it was a barn burner. Steve, I don't think Steven's ever been as taxed in a kickboxing match as it was when he fought that Russian kid. It was an amazing fight. And Steven, there was no quit. And the Russian kid either. There was no quit in him. It was probably, I don't know if I could say it was his best fight ever. It was his best kickboxing fight ever. And I'll say that, in my opinion, of all of his kickboxing, pro and ami, that was the fight that I think confirmed in Steven's mind he can hang with the best. It was amazing. I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. And that's my son. You understand what I'm saying? That's my son stepping out there on a world stage, competing, being a great competitor and a great representative of this here great nation. Though imperfect as it is, we are still a great nation, still a great nation. And he represented the spirit, that American spirit that still exists. It still exists. We have the spirit. We just need guys like Wonderboy and so many others to get out there and continue to demonstrate that spirit and confirm in everybody's mind, we still got it. We still got it. And as far as his kickboxing career, that, in my opinion, above of all of his fights, ami and pro, that was the pinnacle.
And so was that a decision, a knockout?
It went to decision, but it was a unanimous decision.
Unanimous.
There was nobody. The Russians, according to what according to the grapevine, the Russians have ways of winning events even before they step in.
I got you.
The ring.
So there's behind the scenes action going on.
Yes. But there was no
doubt right there.
There was no doubt.
Yeah. I guess whenever you go against anybody, whether it's a crowd favorite, somebody else's turf, or whatever political games going on behind the scenes, the fighter has to fight the fight that either he knocks the guy out or wins so convincingly that even if there's any scheme going on behind the scenes, they cannot play it out.
Right.
It's going to make it look too bad for everybody.
Yep. And it was one of those events. It was amazing. But the Russian kid, he was there from start, first bell to last. I mean, it wasn't like it was a pushover.
I got you.
It was, excuse me, it was such a dynamic event.
So I know that from there, didn't take long for Steven to eventually get into the MMA. You know, I was there for his first match in 2012.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm not sure if I was there. I think I was there on the second fight with Matt Brown. But anyhow, no, I think I was there. Yeah, I'm trying to recall here. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
But anyhow, going back to what you're saying, you said something. He was my son. He was my son. Okay, and this is going to play out throughout his career. And I asked you that earlier when I asked you right off the bat, and I think that changes, I guess, with time and whatever event he's participating. How do you separate the dad from the coach?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how I keep that separate.
How do you keep your cool? Because it's your son over there getting hit, and you know what he's capable of. But
honestly, I think what allows me to let things play out is of his, the path that he's taken. He's taken a pretty tough path, and he's done well from day one all the way to current day. Even in his losses, I mean, he's had all of his losses he ever had has been in UFC. He's never lost outside of that.
Yeah. There's something to be said about those losses that are controversial.
Yeah.
Some, I think, it was visibly unfair because he, in my opinion, had won some of those matches. And second, and maybe we can talk about that later, this whole thing with the gambling and maybe rigging of results in the UFC. I'm not saying yet anything has been proven, but I heard on the grapevine that there are a few matches from Wonderboy that are being investigated.
I've heard through the grapevine that there's three Wonderboy matches that I don't know how reliable the source is, but it's been said there's three matches that they are investigating.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some matches, there's no doubt. You can't argue with them.
Yeah.
But as far as being able to separate fighter and son, I'm not sure how I'm able to do that. I just know that he's one tough SOB.
Mm.
He's one tough nut. He can fight. And he's faster than blue blazes for the most part. I don't know of too many athletes, even in the UFC, that are faster than him. I'm sure there's some as fast. But when it comes to overall, and there's guys with faster hands and maybe guys with faster feet. But when it comes to movement and footwork and angles, I don't know of anybody in the UFC that's as talented or as, let me say, I take it back, or is as skilled as Steven is.
Yeah. I can tell one more thing here, Mr. Thompson, that people from outside have no reality on, is that most of the opponents that Steven ever faced in his UFC or MMA career, all they do is MMA training. All they do is a professional career as a fighter. And you have a son that runs one of the biggest gyms in the country. He's a hero to a lot of kids. He even drives the pickup bus
to
pick up kids. So he's a community role model of a magnitude that even have haircuts with his name. So he has so many other things going on his life on top of his MMA career, which always brings a dual observation. One is, how can he do that and perform at that level, and on top of that, do everything, which for me tells a lot about Steven's gift and talent. But the critical part is, for coaches from outside, they say, but why wouldn't you let him focus more on the MMA and get whatever it is, make sure that he's on the same playing field as all these other guys that he's going against, and not sidetrack with any other responsibility until he's done with his job.
Steven knows, and we all know in the family, we all know that UFC is short term.
Mm-hmm.
In the whole scheme of things, it's short term. Mm-hmm. He can gain some good things from it. Like, for example, he does commercials. He occasionally will do some UFC commentary. Mm-hmm. He just got back 2 or 3 weeks ago. He spent 6 weeks in London, England, shooting Roadhouse 2. Mm-hmm. He's a big part of that movie. As soon as he got back, oh, by the way, while he was gone, guess who had to drive his bus route? This guy. Yeah. You're talking about miserable. Mm. I don't drive bus routes, but so that he can go and do his thing and be Wonderboy, the movie star. Yeah. Okay, Dad stepped in, drove his route. I'm not too good for that. I used to drive back in the day, but I kind of graduated from that. Steven loves it. He loves his bus route. Mm. He loves driving his bus route. I don't know why, but he does. Mm. And he's got the longest bus route. There's 4 of us driving, or 4 bus drivers, 4 buses on the road. We keep one as a spare. We have 5 buses. And he's got the longest route. He knows that his UFC, MMA career is short. So he wants to stay connected in the business because he knows that's going to be his legacy. That's going to be long term. That's what's going to provide for him and his kids and my son and his kids, my son Tony, my other son. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, when me and Miss T, when we move on, that's going to be theirs.
They have a pass. Yeah.
That's going to be theirs. And he loves doing what he does. He loves doing what he does. He gets out on the mat and he's trains those kids.
He's so great. But all my brothers-in-law, they're amazing on the mats.
He loves it, and he knows the kids will love him. And he, like I said, the UFC's part-time.
Yeah. So going back to what you're saying, I got the idea, like you trust your son, you know what he's capable of. Right. And you see his qualities that will set him apart from most average fighters. He excels in those. I think from my perspective, the times I shared with him on the mat, doing an interaction, he's a very quick learner. I mean, he learns so fast. He's literally like a sponge. If you show him anything, he can replicate. The only other person, ironically, that I have come across that has a similar trait was Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris, he has such a quick ability to learn and retain. When he was doing jiu-jitsu back in the old days, he impressed me. You know, it's not always that you see somebody so gifted. Yeah, I know Wonderboy has that. And we're going to dig some more on this, but I know that there's one thing that I talked to Wonderboy. I'm going to sidetrack here just to kind of elaborate on his gift. He said he has this ability to read people when he's training because his footwork is so fast, going in, going out, cutting corners. And that at one point in time, he went to visit Anderson Silva and Lindsey Machado's camp. And he said he felt Anderson Silva had this similar gift of reading.
Anderson Silva's on another level of everything. Whenever we went out to Black House, Stephen was essentially, Hegan set that up. Yeah. Hegan set that up. And he told Black House about this new kid, this kid, Stephen Wonderboy. And so,
what stage was he in his career back then?
He wasn't even doing MMA yet.
Oh, so he hasn't even done?
No.
Oh, wow.
He was doing kickboxing.
Okay.
And so we went to Black House because Hegan, he knows those guys. And and Anderson was there. Lyoto was there. Shinzo, Lyoto's brother, was there. Cool guy. Anderson was the best. Anderson, the talent, the knowledge, the skill. I mean, Stephen had the pleasure of sparring with Anderson. You can watch Anderson. He's out there sparring with Stephen. 1 minute he's doing karate fighting. And then next thing you know, he's into Muay Thai. He's doing Muay Thai. And you can see the distinct differences in Anderson's style. Stephen, he's got this one style. He's got that karate style thing going on. He was sparring with Anderson. Anderson was toying with him. He was like cat and mouse. Anderson, it was like a lion and mouse. Anderson was, 1 minute he's doing boxing. He's just straight up boxing him. Next thing you know, he's doing American rules kickboxing. And then he's doing karate fighting with Stephen. And he's doing Muay Thai. And he was like, where is this guy?
How do you keep up with this guy?
Yeah. I was like, where does this come from? Anyway, we had the pleasure of going out and sparring with Lyoto and sparring with Anderson and sparring with Shinzo. Shinzo, he loves Stephen. It seemed to be. From what we could tell, they spoke Portuguese for the most part, but Shinzo sparred with Stephen several times, and they were 5-minute rounds. Stephen did a bunch of rounds. He did some with Lyoto, one with Anderson. I think he did 2 or 3 with Shinzo. It was a great experience. And you know what really impressed me more than anything? Outside of his massive skill and knowledge and ability, after his training was done, after Anderson's training was done there, all the people that came to help him train, he took those guys and he trained them for an hour. Just after the training was done, after his training was done, he run those guys through a workout, just to give them some work instead of making it all about Anderson.
Wow.
I was like, dude, I'm in love with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
What a compassionate teammate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of chokes me up knowing that you got somebody of that greatness willing to help the little guys that came in to help him get ready. He just give it back right then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, man, I want to be like him.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an accident that Anderson at his peak, he was untouchable.
No,
He was incredible.
Yeah.
And Steven said one thing about the session. He said that because apparently the length of his forearm is like uncommon. When he clinches you with a tight clinch, his elbow is on your belly button, so you can't shake it off.
Anderson was.
So you would see him in many of his fights, like with Rich Franklin, poor guy. Every time he would latch that tight clinch, he would just wipe him out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was there I think that fight was in Montreal, if I remember correctly. Anderson and Rich Franklin. I felt so sorry for Rich Franklin.
Yeah. Because he lost similarly the same weight twice, right?
Do what?
He fought twice, Anderson Silva, I think, Rich Franklin.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he lost twice TKO.
Yeah. If Anderson, well, I mean, what can you say about him, right?
Yeah. But anyhow, we're here. It's Wonderboy time. So, and actually it's Mr. Thompson's time. So here we have two parallel journeys. We have you, the coach, you, the dad, then out of your kids, Wonderboy transitions from an amazing record, 57-0 in kickboxing, and then MMA. Then he has his debut, and I was there when he fought Matt Brown, and I think that was a decisive fight because it was early on in his career. And I want to fast forward to that. What was the greatest lesson that you learned in the first couple fights that Steven had? Because the first one was the moneymaker. He knocked that guy out with his standard move. What did you take from those two?
The biggest lesson we learned between first fight and the Matt Brown fight is, number one, don't take two fights
too soon. How far apart
together? They have 2 months.
Are you serious?
That was 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but his first fight, it was an easy fight.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what wrecks fighters. What wrecks fighters, it's especially for us, because we weren't very good at it at the time, was the weight cut.
Mm.
Our weight cut knowledge and skills are terrible. He made weight. Steven's never, knock on wood, praise Jesus, he's never not made weight.
Mm-hmm.
We just feel it's so disrespectful to the opponent and to the organization that allows us to participate in their event to not make weight.
Mm-hmm.
So we kill ourselves to make weight. His first weight cut in the UFC was terrible. So anyway, it takes a while to recover from that.
Yeah. And then he fights 2 months later.
Yeah, he fights 2 months later doing the same weight cut.
And Matt Brown was no joke. He was already up and coming. In
Matt
the UFC
Brown,
back then.
yeah, and he has weight cut skills.
Yeah.
He knew how to do the proper weight cut. Because Matt Brown fought on that card. He fought 2 months later as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he and his team, whatever team that was, evidently they had weight cut skills. We didn't have them. We were learning as we go.
Yeah.
So anyway, our second weight cut was worse than our first one.
Is that true? You had to hold him so he wouldn't faint on the scale?
It was bad. It was bad.
And you said something too. He was conditioning with a strength and coach that put too much muscle mass. His legs were heavy.
Started his weight cut at 211 pounds.
How much time he had until the fight?
I want to say 3 weeks or something. I'm not exactly sure. It was
Go
terrible.
to
Yeah, and he was muscled up. He was muscled up. The guy that was doing his strength training at the time was calculating his food intake. He had a strength coach who's calculating his food intake, what he should be taking. And the strength coach's wife was preparing the meals for Stephen.
Mm.
But when it came to calculating how much protein Stephen was supposed to be consuming, from what I understand, the strength coach put a decimal point in the wrong place. And the wife's making that number of food, that amount of food.
Oh my
and
God.
Stephen was expected to eat it, and he did everything he could to eat everything, because that's what his strength coach said. You got to eat this.
So he was over-consuming.
He was huge. He was over-consuming.
I had no idea about that part.
It was, it was crazy.
So the guy made the mistake on the chart,
And the wife was
and
making
the wife
the food.
followed the instructions.
Yep. And Stephen was doing everything he could to eat everything the strength coach said. So he became thick. I mean, he danced thick, muscled up. And then 3 weeks out, the strength coach
Realized
what was going on. So he went back and recalculated. He went back and talked to the wife about,
recalculated the whole thing.
And that's how they found out, because she was doing what he said.
Oh wow! What did he say?
There wasn't anything he could do.
Oh,
we just
man.
had to start crash dieting to get our weight down. And we started the weight cut. We started the sweat down. He was 190 something. We don't start a sweat down until he's 170. No, 180. That's when we start.
You have to start way
the
above
sweat.
that.
Yeah. He's dieting down. He typically, when we arrive on location, he wants to be 185 or less.
Mm-hmm.
If he's fighting on Saturday, the UFC bring us in on Tuesday. When he rolls up from the airport and gets weighed in, he wants to be 185 or less.
Okay.
Then from Tuesday to Friday, he's eating and dieting. So when it's time to, Tuesday, Thursday, because, so Friday's weigh-in, excuse me, Friday is when we weigh in.
So Thursday's the sweat day.
That's right. Thursday's from Tuesday to Thursday, he wants to go from 185 to either 180, 179, 180. Eating and dieting down. And then on Thursday night, when it comes sweat down time, he wants to be if possible, under 180. And then he'll sweat off what he needs to sweat off to make weight. And like I said, knock on wood, he's never not made weight.
Yeah. That fight was incredible. Incredible as it was, because despite all his challenge and not being at his peak condition physically because of the bad weight cut, they still went all the way to the end.
The distance. And also, honestly, the skill set wasn't there. His grappling skill set. Stephen can grapple.
Yeah.
He can grapple. He can get out there and he can grapple.
But he survived.
For some reason,
he survived.
For some reason, of course, now that particular fight, his grappling skills were pretty low. I mean, I got to be honest. And we went in the UFC, number one, because, well, it's an opportunity. We get a call for the UFC. We got to take it, whether our skill set's there or not. So we knew that our grappling skill sets was low, and we knew that over time we're going to pick it up. We're going to pick it up. So for us to hop out there with Matt Brown, when it comes to grappling, we were overhead and we knew that. But nonetheless, we decided, okay, we're going.
Yeah, I remember that he got knocked down, right? He almost got knocked out in round 2. He was like struggling. And they were both really tired at the end.
Yeah. Steven's legs were heavy. He said they were so flat. He said after the first round, he came back to the corner. He said, I can't hardly move.
No, didn't you have to help him get up from the bench?
Yeah. His legs were done. Yeah. He said, my legs were done. I said, no, you got 2 more rounds. You got to fight, So he got out there, man. He did. And he just couldn't move like he normally does. Had he been able to move like he normally does,
it have been a different fight.
It very well could have been a different story. Yeah.
I believe
I'm not going to say it would, but.
No, I'm almost positive it would.
Yeah. But anyway.
But I remember one thing, you and him, because you always have the talk at the end, whatever the results is. And I remember you saying, correct if I'm wrong, you didn't do anything wrong, son.
No.
This is on us. Yeah. We were the ones that wronged you this time.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do. And my thinking is I'm head coach. It's my responsibility to monitor everything about his fight. And I didn't do a very good job staying on top of the strength coach and monitor that aspect of his training. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got a strength coach. And I just didn't do a good job of staying on top of him and making sure that process, his strength and his diet, that process was done correctly. And so Stephen did everything he was told to do. Everything. It's just that our strength coach made a little bit of an error in his calculations, and I didn't stay on top of that.
Yep.
When it after fighting Matt Brown and experiencing our first loss, I think it was harder on me than it was on him. Because personally, I mean, deep down in my heart, I never saw him losing. I never saw him losing in any
event, right?
Any fight event. I mean, I guess, he's my son. He's my top fighter. I just felt that, you know what? He's going all the way. He's going all the way.
Yeah.
I just don't see him losing anybody because I knew his skill set, and I could see the majority of the field ahead of him when it comes to, especially when it comes to striking. None of the, I wasn't real confident that I was very confident in him in the field in front of him when it came to striking. Wasn't sure about his grappling because we,
didn't have a chance to work yet.
Yeah. So I just felt that first loss, it was rough on me.
Yeah.
Rougher on me than it was on him.
Yeah.
For him, it was a bit of a relief for him.
Yeah.
He knew at some point in time, I guess maybe deep down inside, I knew it was going to happen too. But maybe I just blocked it out. I don't know. No, it ain't going to happen.
Now that it did happen at that time, okay, we know how it feels. Let's move on and continue to work. This episode is sponsored by Stay Humble Coffee. Coffee is so good, it doesn't need to brag. Find it at stayhumblecoffee.com.
I know this podcast is about me, but what about you? Because you're part of his his UFC career.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on?
I can tell you 2 things. One, in an ideal scenario, I don't want to be needed. I don't want to even need to happen any input on me while I'm there on the corner with you. Because that means if I'm needed, that means he might be in trouble. And then I have to intervene to whatever piece of advice I can give. And one thing I learned by interacting with you, you're the main voice, and you're the voice that Steven can hear in a full venue like the Madison Square Garden, everybody yelling.
Yeah.
You know, when Wonderboy escaped from the headlock from Tyrone, you know, and ended up on top in his guard at the end of the round. So I got used to whisper in your ear if I needed to say something, and your voice would be the loudspeaker. Because I knew that if all of us, and I understand that in some instances throughout the match, the coaches will all try to intervene and yell whatever comes to mind based upon what they're seeing. First of all, the cage is so on your face, and people talk about being a corner person. It's the worst spot to be. Because the closer you are, the faster it gets, you know, and a lot of times you have the cameraman in the front, you have to move your head around. It's not as crystal clear, and the reaction is way faster. The closer you are to the match, the faster the action is.
Right.
It almost seems like when you pull back, you can anticipate things, you know, even when it's in real speed. But those two things, trying to transmit to you, and you voiced it over. And the other thing is, the cool of everybody depending on your cool. If I felt that you're not cool, that you're kind of like, and you're pretty good at that, and I felt that no matter how bad things might look, you seem pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, regardless of whether you feel that way or not, you have that stone cold. Because you know, if you lose your cool,
That's right.
then everybody else will lose their cool. And Wonderboy cannot afford to have you out of your poise. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it does. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The other thing, from my perspective, I want to be there with my eyes on the fight. And right before the fight happens, you know, Wonderboy gives the flip-flops to one person, the shirt, you know, in shorts or sweats to another. And then we have the bucket to hold. And each, I guess, of us have maybe and I kind of get, shoot, man, I want to just put this underneath the bench and just kind of stay on, because you don't have that much time. By the time the fighter is introduced and then the announcer does their part, you know, they close the gates and the fight is on. If you take too long to go to your corner, you might miss the first shot. You know, so you want to be there ready when the action starts. And so for me, learning how to tame my reaction by looking at you, how you behave, I'll try to mirror what you're doing. You know, that's one part. The other part is, it's not always that I can be there for the training camp. So a lot of times I would see Steven on the weekday, on the week fight, when he was doing the weight cut.
Fight week, yeah.
So it's the worst part for the athlete. Because you know, you don't eat enough, you get grouchy, you know, you're doing the sweat, you're tired, you're fatigued, and then you have, you know, you try to keep your cool, like your focus before the fight, not let your emotions run amok, you know. So you have to be.
That's a miserable week.
Yeah. So I see Steven as at his most miserable time, but as from a coach's perspective, I see you as the one that is like the magnet. Anything that's thrown at Steven, you kind of absorb and try to keep to yourself, so you preserve him. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you kind of keep an eye on the thing, and you're the one that you're kind of like the conductor. You know, the weight cut, the guy who cooks the meals, the way the weight cut's going to be, the time of the workouts, how intense the workouts are going to be, and everybody's interaction with Steven. You're pulling all the strings from behind the scenes. So the degree of focus and tension that you have to carry. A lot of times what I do, I massage your back.
Yes.
I try to take the knots out of his back, because he will tense up on the upper back and be really sore. And plus, try to hold the mitts from Wonderboy when he's doing his thing. I mean, you tear your shoulders apart. I don't care who you are. And you've been doing that.
And I'm suffering from it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot going on out there. Yes.
But about that whole thing, I have stories to tell.
Yep. Tell me.
You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to holding mitts and enduring the things that I've been through by training him, the people I've had a chance to meet through his journey through our journey, because we're both on this journey together.
100%.
We're all three on this journey together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've had the opportunity to meet a bunch of folks that are really good people. Met some jerks too, but you know, that's in everything you do. So, but for the most part, it's been an amazing journey. And if things go well, hopefully we'll be on that. He's got one more fight left on his UFC contract. He's currently the oldest fighter in UFC. If things go well, we'll be on that White House card. We don't know. We're hoping, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be his final.
Come on, Sean Shelby. Come on now. You hear me out? Right.
Yeah. So and if things go well, that'll be his final UFC MMA fight. And he moves on to doing whatever he moves on to do, movies, commentary, whatever. Well, we'll see. He may fight again. I don't know.
Yeah. I tell you this, though. You all agree. What a good-looking guy.
He is.
You know what I'm saying? That guy, he's so well preserved, too. Like, he looks impeccable. You know what I'm saying? Wonderboy, he's a movie star.
He's had, I'm not sure how many fights he's had. He's had close to 80 fights. MMA, kickboxing,
Altogether, yeah.
Yeah, not including any grappling matches and not including any karate fights. We don't really count those. But he's had full contact, somebody gets knocked out, choked out, fights. He's had almost 80. 57 kickboxing. And I don't know how many MMA fights. I think I don't know. But anyway.
More than 30 altogether, I think.
It's been a bunch.
Yeah.
Been a bunch. But and he still looks good, and he's sweet as he can be.
Mm-hmm.
He's the sweetest guy in the world. He'll give his shirt off his back.
Yeah.
Tenderhearted. He loves his kids. He loves his mom. He loves his family.
Mm-hmm.
Mom still takes care of business for him.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, she takes care of business for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's I can't tell enough about his personality. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who doesn't.
He's such a sweet guy, but he can fight.
Yeah, I know.
Even his next birthday in February, he'll be 43. But he still expresses an interest. Yeah. He wants to do his final UFC fight. He don't want to. He wants to fight his contract out. He got a contract. He wants to fight it out. And then he might do something different. I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to see.
Well, I tell you what, from my perspective, Steve is such an amazing guy. I just want him to be as successful as possible. I said, man, I hope he becomes the top-notch model, actor, get into movies, get paid what he's worth, and just don't have to get hit in the face anymore. Keep that baby face, But I'm sure he will figure out more opportunities.
And his mom will help him too.
Yeah.
I mean, she loves him to death, and he loves her, and
Yeah, the whole family.
It's
a strong support system.
We'll help him. We'll help him do what he needs to do. And even without our help, Stephen, he's not a stupid guy. He's a smart guy, and he'll be good at whatever he does.
So, looking back, Mr. Thompson, I know it has been a while since we've been catching up. When you look back from where you came from, where you started, what you created, what you caused to happen, what you built, and you look back, what comes out of your mind? Like, I mean, what can you say?
I can't believe I'm where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me, where I'm at right now, I'll never say I have but I definitely have one of the top karate studios, martial arts facilities
in the world.
It's a pretty nice place. I mean, it really is. And there's lots of.
I travel all over the world.
It's a pretty nice place.
You were liking it.
And we're
the
in
top 5.
We're in a little town in Simpsonville, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're not in New York City. We're not in Dallas, Texas. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We're in Simpsonville, South Carolina, where, well, current population, I don't know what it is because it's everybody and their brothers moving to South Carolina. But it wasn't that long ago. City population was a little over 20,000.
Mhm.
You know, right now, but I don't know what it is today. But
Yeah.
it was a very small place.
Mhm.
And currently, we have just a little over 900 active students
Mhm.
in our dojo today.
Yeah.
And half of them we teach more than one art in our, more than one system at our school.
Yeah.
We got, of course, BJJ. We have kickboxing. We have MMA, of course. Of course, karate is our main art.
Mhm.
So we have fitness programs and all kind of things. So we have a little bit over 900 active students at our dojo, and half of them do multiple arts. And then half of those do a third art. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we are, needless to say, we're busy.
Yeah.
We're
It's
busy.
a good busy.
We are wide open.
It's a life-changing busy.
It is.
It's like changing people's lives on a daily basis.
And we're blessed. We're blessed far beyond our deserving.
Mm-hmm.
God has blessed us with this mission that we're on. And like you said, martial arts is more than martial arts. Martial arts institutions should be more than just martial arts. Teaching our craft, but working also to help that individual become just a little bit of a better version, or maybe a large better version of when they first started. And if I mean, it's great to have a dojo full of killers. I mean, that's great. That's good. Nobody's going to have that. There's not a dojo in the world that's going to have that. They're going to have their monsters. But what you want to do is you want to take that person that's been sitting on the couch for the last 5 years, get them off the couch, get them moving, get them developing, and improve their life. And if we can do that to a lot of folks, then those folks are going to help change the community you live in. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of our mission, if you will.
It's not creating better students alone. It's contributing to make better humans.
That's right.
Because then you definitely will make the world a better place.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No, not at all.
You understand what I'm saying?
I think that's in sync with what martial arts is all about. So I'll have G-Man asking one last question. I just want to say something here. This is how much I think of you, respect you, and care about you. And it makes me emotional to think about that. When I had my firstborn, Ray, your first grandson, I didn't know for sure what name to give him. And I spoke to my wife, and we made the decision and then called you. And your son, your son, Tony, was talking on the phone. I spoke to Miss Thompson, your wife. We're thinking about naming him Ray Anthony, and then she didn't have words to say, and then best to you. And then said, your first grandson will carry your name, and I guess you didn't say something back. But this is how much I feel about you. Just to illustrate, my first son carries your name.
Whenever you guys told me that, I didn't really know what to say. He's your firstborn. You could have named him after your dad. But for you to name him after me, that was a big moment. in my life. And I'm just, I'm just honored that you thought that much of me to do that. So, I mean, I don't know what to say other than I love you, man.
Likewise. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Thank you. G-Man, you done? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us. I look forward to hearing this episode with you. And Mr. Thompson, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate you having me. And I love spending time with my family. And I'm just honored to be here.
Thank you, sir.